give you guys, the people who are new to the series, a little background on me. I am a full-time realtor. I have been selling real estate for 17 years. I'm a 22-year Southfield resident as well. I'm a seniors real estate specialist, as is Katherine, as I found out. And what that means is that we have certification in selling real estate with seniors because of the very specific issues that come along with seniors selling homes, such as downsizing and how to downsize and dealing with estate sale companies and all of that. We have the knowledge behind us to help you with any, specific issues you may have when you're talking about downsizing or selling your longtime family home. So if you have any other questions, you have my information, but feel free to call me. My cell phone number, which is on my information, 248-225-9441. It's on the documentation there. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Katherine, who is here to tell us about choosing an active adult community.
Sure.
And what goes into that.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. My information is on, I gave you all my presentation, so if you want to follow along, you can. If not, you can just listen. But I'm Katherine Demeter, as Deborah said. I am a realtor as well as a sales consultant with Brookdale Senior Living. My information is on that first sheet for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through independent, assisted memory care, just kind of define what everything is that's out there, because there seems to be a lot of confusion. When I'm taking phone calls every day, I'm hearing, oh, you're assisted living. No, I'm not. I'm independent. No, I need assisted living. Well, what's going on? Well, you really don't need assisted living. So I just want to kind of define these three products, if you will, and then, of course, the CCRC. So what is independent living? Independent living is great. You have an apartment, just like you would have an apartment in any other apartment building. You have your own kitchen still, your own bathroom, 1-bedroom choices, 2-bedroom choices. Some communities have studio apartments that are available. Mine does. So it's just a regular apartment. What we're doing is we're adding on supportive services. I will say I find the average age to be right around 82 to 85 when people start to first look and consider senior living in an independent community. So you have your regular apartment, but you also have extra support. And the number one thing that folks, when they come to me, that they're looking for is socialization. You've aged to a point where maybe you can't get out and drive like you used to. Maybe something happened with your eyesight, macular degeneration, glaucoma, all these things affect your lifestyle. And so most people that come to me are looking for socialization. So what do? We have exercise classes. We have celebrations today. We had a big St. Patrick's Day party, green beer, an accordion player in the bar, and a lot of fun. So people could come down and participate and meet their neighbors. We do outings, we go to the casinos, we go out to lunch, we go out to dinner, and it's very resident driven. Your community, when you are talking with your sales counselor, you should hear resident driven. You should hear that they have a resident council and those people meet with the director and they meet with the activities director for that community and are telling them what they want to do. And these things just aren't randomly being decided and picked for the community as a whole. We have live entertainment usually in the communities. There's usually some sort of signature performer once a month. And at my community, we have live entertainment 3 nights a week after dinner. So I liken it to living on a cruise ship in that respect. We do provide meals in every community. Independent living community will provide some sort of a meal plan. It could be breakfast and lunch, it could be lunch and dinner, it could be breakfast and dinner, but there's usually a meal plan that's provided that's inclusive to your rent. Generally, you cannot separate that out from your rent. It's all inclusive. We offer transportation. A lot of communities, independent livings, you'll see the bus going to the grocery store. So ask about transportation as it pertains to you. Think about, where's my doctor? How far is my doctor from this community? Is it over the range that they're willing to go? My bus goes 15 miles. That'll take people down to Henry Ford on the boulevard. So, and how often do we have a driver? Some communities are 7 days a week. Others are 6. Some are Mondays and Wednesdays only. So when they say we have transportation, how often? How far? Great questions to ask. And we also provide, a community should have some sort of concierge service, meaning someone always at the front desk, on the phone, answering your questions as you call down. They can be as mundane as, did you see Millie in the dining room? That person will say, yes, I saw Millie in the dining room, come on down. Okay, what's for dinner tonight? Read the menu. Can you sign me up for the trip that we're taking next week? Absolutely. So concierge services are very important to a senior community. And another great question to ask, how often do you have someone at that desk? Is it round the clock? Is it only till 8 o'clock at night and then the desk isn't covered? So great question to figure it out. And the reason I ask that I figure that's probably one of the most important questions and people don't ask, is some communities will lock their doors at night. And I have heard too many times where my dad left the community to have dinner, we dropped him off, he didn't have his key, he couldn't get in the building. He didn't have a cell phone. He ended up sitting on a bench outside all night. Kid you not, I have heard this story. So, very important, concierge service, someone watching the door, someone watching who comes and goes out of the community. And then some communities will have valet services also. They'll park your car for you, they'll get your car for you in the winter and clean it off and bring it to the front door. So those are some very high-end communities, but they're out there. And most independent living communities will have some sort of supportive care available, usually in the form of a third-party provider, a home care company that may be licensed, maybe not licensed. So again, good questions to ask. Are they licensed? Are they not licensed? And generally, these communities are supportive services are providing care for what we call ADLs. Do we all know what ADLs are? Acts of daily living, okay? So independent living communities want you to age in place. You come there and you're great, you're in great shape, you're going really good, you want to stay there, you love the services, but you're having a hard time getting dressed in the morning. You're having a hard time remembering when to take your pills. So these are the types of supporting services that that community support system can provide in an independent living community still, without you having to move to another area in the building or uproot yourself and go into assisted living. So it's super convenient. Their charges will be separate from your rent. And a lot of time at Brookdale, we call it CORE. It's care over real estate, C-O-R-E. So in those cases when your health if it begins to fail, I guess it's inevitable, right? What we suggest is you downsize. Maybe you're in a 2-bedroom, downsize into a 1-bedroom so that you can supplement with the care that you're going to need at that time. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. We also, most independent living communities have a resident check-in system. So whether it's a button on the wall that you push before 10 a.m. to let the downstairs concierge desk, who does a count every day, know that you're okay. Or I've seen systems where there's a sensor in the bathroom. So between 5 and 10 a.m., it goes off when you go to use the bathroom first thing in the morning, and we know that you're okay. Some communities use a little doorknob hanger that you put on the doorknob outside, and someone will go up and down the halls and say, oh yeah, everyone's good, everyone's good. If we don't get a word from you, we call you first. If you don't pick up your phone, we're knocking on the door and saying, good morning, how are you today? So in a nutshell, that's independent living. And it can be a lot of fun. Like I said, it's like a cruise ship. My community has a swimming pool. We do water aerobics classes. We have we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of fun things. So I want to touch on assisted living. Independent living, 62 years of age and older is generally the age bracket that we're looking at. Assisted living is 50, they lower that age limit to about 55 years of age. It's usually licensed. It's a community that's licensed to provide care. Again, it's care over real estate. Something traumatic happened to a loved one. They had a stroke. They can't get around. Their diabetes is super severe. They need to be monitored. So generally you have a private or a semi-private room. There are some assisted living communities that have a living room and a bedroom and a small kitchenette. You generally won't have a kitchen. You'll always have a kitchenette in these communities. You'll have a sink, you'll have a little refrigerator, a little bar refrigerator. Put your stash in. Care is assessed and provided at the community, and it's all inclusive. So when you're in assisted living, God forbid none of you ever go there and need assisted living care. But if you have family that is at assisted living, what they will do is they'll interview that person, and they do a little, they do what we call an assessment to make sure they're appropriate for the community, to make sure they're quoting you the correct pricing for the care that they're going to need. And then that care is inclusive of your rent. Ranges, I've seen ranges as low as $3,500 a month and as high as $7,000, $8,000 a month. Yes. Bad news. Assisted living services are not covered by insurance. Medicare does not cover assisted living services. I cannot tell you how many times I get phone calls, even for independent living, where folks ask me, can my insurance cover any of this? No. So ADLs, acts of daily living, those types of assistance will not be covered by your insurance. Your medication is still covered. If you have a skilled nursing provider, then yeah, maybe some, but for the most part, assisted living service is all private pay. All your meals are provided. It goes without saying. They usually have some exercise classes and activities, but again, the focus is on care. I'm going to kind of segue, though, a little bit and talk about aid and attendance. Do any of you know about your veteran benefits and aid and attendance? Any of you spouses of veterans? Served during wartime? Sort of. So aid and attendance is a program for veterans and their spouses. And your spouse had to have served during wartime, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, even the Gulf conflict is in there. And you have to be in a community getting help you need help with 2 acts of daily living. So I need help getting dressed, I need medication reminders, you qualify. The benefit for a widow or surviving spouse right now is $1,200, $1,209 a month to pay for your care, to help pay for your care. And for a veteran himself, it's $1,881. So something to kind of look into and keep in your back pocket if you need it later in life. A lot of people don't know that's available to them. I can At my community, even though I'm independent living, I have a lot of people that were able to help out getting those veteran benefits and put them in touch with people that will fill out the complicated paperwork that it takes to get it. And even though they're independent living, again, if they need help with those 2 acts of daily living, they qualify and they get that help. The next kind of segment is memory care. Okay, we all know what Alzheimer's is and dementia is, so this is specialized care for Alzheimer's and dementia patients. If you're wandering, if you're abusive, memory care is in order. A lot of independent living communities have people with mild dementia, but if you get to a point where you're going to possibly harm yourself or others, then it's time for memory care. It's a secured community, all meals, all care is provided. They have special programs for activities for residents to reduce anxiety. So that's when you hear memory care, that's what that's all about. And now, the other elephant in the room is the CCRC. And that stands for, has anybody heard that term, CCRC? We're a CCRC community.
I talk about it all the time.
Do you?
That's where my mom's at a CCRC.
Does she love it?
She does. She's still getting used to it, but yeah, she does.
Good for her. That stands for Continuing Care Retirement Community. So they have everything. They have your independent living, they have your cruise ship lifestyle, they have the assisted living, they have memory care, and they usually have skilled nursing. So you can stay put in the building and not have to go anywhere. Now, there are 2 types of this type of community. There are some communities out there where it's all separated out and you just sign a lease. You start in memory care, you don't necessarily have to go to their assisted living program or their memory care program, but you can go when you want, after your lease is up. You don't have to stay there. And then there are what we call buy-in communities. So a buy-in community is a community where you are putting a substantial amount of money down, a deposit, usually based on the size of the apartment that you initially select. And I've seen them start around $70,000 and go up to around $250,000 as your buy-in fee. And what you're doing is you're signing a contract with that community to take care of you for the rest of your life. So in addition to that money down, you do still have a monthly rent payment. So I'll give you an example. I know at the community that I looked at that had that starting of a $70,000 down payment, your monthly rent was still $1,400 to $1,500 a month. It's not bad. I don't know what happens after that, because my niche is really independent living, so I don't want to know.
I can tell you a little about
Great.
what my mom deals with. Like I said, my mom has been in a CCRC she's going into her 2nd year.
Okay.
So we had the buy-in. She has her apartment. You're correct. She does have monthly rent, but included in that, she gets, I want to say, 60 or 30 meals a month.
Right.
So her meals are,
Right.
maybe she'll eat breakfast in her apartment, but then she'll do dinner in the dining hall. She can have, like, I go out to see her on Sundays. I'll have brunch with her. She uses her meal credits. She can save them up because she never really uses all of her meal credits. They have all the activities that you
Right.
talked about. If she has a health emergency, they have
Care on site.
care on site. They do check on her every morning, like you said. If she doesn't, they have a latch that they have to pull over, and if she doesn't remove it in the morning, they do check on her. She's fallen a couple of times and wasn't able to get up. She was able to reach her cell phone, call them. They came in and helped her up. So, she's getting
Care.
care along with the independent living.
Right.
And
Now, when she moves on, though, to assisted, is there another premium that she pays, or no?
no,
Okay, that's what I didn't.
no other
yeah.
premium.
Okay.
She just moves to a different section of that.
Right, she has to vacate her
Community.
apartment.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. So you have everything under one roof. They're generally, the buy-in communities are very large communities.
Yeah.
So what are good questions to ask? You're looking for independent living, good questions to ask. How many rooms? How many other residents are in the community? Is there a wait list? Depending on your timeline to move, good to know. Are they that popular where they've got a substantial wait list? Then maybe I should get on that. What hospitals are close by? May not be important to you now. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to you now. You're healthy, but it might matter 10 years from now or 5 years from now. So I always get the question, will you take mom to Providence? Will you take mom to, yep. If it's not an emergency, a non-emergency situation, generally an ambulance can take you where you want to go. If it's an emergency, you don't have that luxury. So if you want to go to a certain hospital, it's a great question to ask. Can your own private care providers come to the community and work with me? Sometimes I have folks that come to independent living that have an assistant, an aide, checks on them every day, runs their errands, drives for them, whatever it is. And yes, you should ask, can that still continue to happen? Can she come into the community? A good community will say yes, and they will tell you they would want to do a background check on that person. So that's good to hear. Let's see. What credentials do staff members have? And what hours do they work? You have a nurse in the building. Is she only here during the day? Is she here around the clock? Those types of things. How about your manager? How about the executive director of the building? Will they come in for emergencies? What's your protocol for an emergency? Who comes to the building? Who helps out? In my building, it's everyone on deck. Everybody comes out if there's some sort of emergency. An emergency can be as small as we lost power and the elevators are down. That's an emergency. We have to use the stairs. We have to get dinners to people if they can't go down the stairs. So it's all hands on deck. Try and talk to a resident if possible as you're looking. Stay after. I usually walk my guests to the door, but I'll tell them, feel free to talk to any of the residents that are here in the living room and interview them and see how they like it here. And they'll be happy to talk to you. They will open up. They will tell you everything. Are the apartments equipped with sprinkler systems? What type of fire protection is in the building? For the older buildings, that's important. For all the newer buildings, they're all built to code. But if you do happen to go to an older building, it's a great question to ask. What's your procedure during a fire is a great question to ask. I went to a very brand new building and opened it up. And the fire department in that city wanted everybody out of the building.
That's a big lift.
That was, yeah, and we had to have signs on the sidewalks, and so twice a year we were doing these huge fire drills. And in my current building, the fire department wants everybody to stay in their units because the fire door's shut, there's sprinkler systems, just stay in the units. If there's an emergency, they're gonna come and get you. So it's a good question to ask, just to kind of be prepared and know what may. It would be a shame if you couldn't walk, or you just send your mother to a place and she has a hard time walking, and
right.
You hear, well, they're going to have a fire drill and she needs to get out.
Right. Yeah.
No. Are all the residents handicap accessible? We all age. Make sure that they are. They have bars. Can you put bars if there aren't bars there? Am I allowed to do that? What are the door widths? All those things. What utilities do I pay? Most communities include your gas, your electric, your air, you know, your central air and that. What you usually end up paying is phone, for sure, and cable. But some communities do. There are some out there that will pay like basic cable, cover basic cable for you. So knowing what utilities are paid for and what you need to work into your budget is great. Are pets allowed? If you have a pet, you want to bring your pet? Great. Your son or daughter have a new puppy. They want to bring it over. Is that possible? You want to know. How many entree choices daily? So most of the places will have, independent living communities will offer dinner. You want to dig into the food. You want to know where it's coming from. Is this your own chef on site? Is it being catered in by a third party and then being reheated? Yep. Are you, is it the same, is it just one choice? Is it two choices? Is it six? What? So you kind of want to dig into the menu, because that usually is that's the second reason people move to senior living, is they're tired of cooking for themselves. I am tired of this. So you want good nutrition. You want to make sure, is it fresh? Is it fresh food, or are they opening a can of green beans in the back? What are they doing? I've worked at communities where we had top chefs. My current community, I have a great chef, and it's farm to table. Nothing from a can, everything is fresh. We have what we call optimum life choices, which are low sodium, low fat, low cholesterol choices, so that if you are on a restricted diet, that helps you a bit. Most independent living communities will not cater to a special diet. It's usually a no-no, but we have those choices so that you can get by. What do you like to eat? Are you vegetarian? Do you need a special diet?
Gluten-free.
Gluten-free is another big one. Yeah, gluten-free is another big one. So dig into the diet, dig into the meals. How many entrees? Breakfast. Is breakfast a buffet? Do I have to balance a tray to my table or a plate to my table and get up and down and up and down? Or is it made to order and I sit and I order like a restaurant? So, and then lunch. Do you even serve a lunch?
Right.
A lot of communities don't serve a lunch, or sometimes they call it supper.
Right.
But they don't serve a lunch. What do I do if I miss breakfast? What's going to happen? Well, you do have a kitchen, but usually there is a deli or something set up in the community where you could grab something like a bowl of soup, a sandwich, a salad, something quick. So make sure you have that to fall back on. Let's see. Ask to see a sample of the menu. Ask to see like a week's sample of the menu. Ask to have a meal at the community.
That's the best part of the tours.
Yes. Ask to have a meal at the community. I will usually meet with someone once and offer that. It's an automatic. Do you want to come back and have dinner with me? And try the food. It's a big reason why you're moving. You got to do it.
Right.
Got to do it. Ask what healthcare services are available in your community too. Sometimes there's none. We're just independent living. We have this company. They do their own thing. We don't want to know about them. They're there for you if you need them. If you fall, they'll first respond. Other than that, we don't know. Some communities, independent living communities, can be very, very strict on the health of their residents because it's a risk. You know, it's not to be mean,
Right.
but you know, it's a risk if they can't be in the community and they can't have private duty. I mean, I've had people all the way through hospice in my community. Family wanted them to stay in their home, and that was great. They had hospice on site. Someone was caring for them. We knew about it. Perfect. So good question to ask is what level of care can I bring in? Can I have? Do you provide, or your third party? Ask to meet that third party provider. Ask to meet the nurse. They'll come down. They'll talk. Are medical alert pendants available? Are they GPS activated? Will they know where to find me? Because it's not always in your room that you fall. You could fall in the restroom, anywhere. So are they free? Do they come with the rent? Do I pay extra? If you are interested in a CCRC and it's a buying community, ask to see the financial reports. There's no reason why you can't go through their financial reports, make sure they're right side up and not upside down. Ask to review the lease before you sign the lease. Any good sales consultant will send a lease to you and say, please read it. Please read it. And is the lease for a year? Is it for a set amount of time? Is it for a year or is it open-ended? Open-ended leases are very, very popular right now, but there are still some that will make you sign a full 1-year lease. But the open-ended lease, you can give your notice to vacate and 30-day notice and be gone. It's great for your family. If God forbid you pass, they're done, they're not, and always look at that clause in your lease. What happens if I pass? What will my family have to deal with? Will they have to give a 30-day notice and a 30-day notice on top of that to clean out? And I've seen some crazy things. So just be sure, be careful, read those clauses, and make sure you understand what your responsibility is and what your family's responsibility is. And get your family involved, get your kids involved. When you start looking, it's ultimately your decision, but get your kids involved too. And then they'll tell you, Mom, you're crazy. You're not ready. Mom, you're totally ready. Do it, do it, do it. So get your kids involved. Maybe after you do your first look through of a couple of 5-6 communities. Ask what the yearly increase in rent will be. Typically it's 3 to 7%. So if we're looking at a $2,500 lease, 3% is $70, or $175 on a 75%, or a 7% increase. So make sure your budget will hold that. How about you guys? Do you have any other questions? Do you have questions?
Okay, in the independent living apartment, what are the laundry facilities?
So some of the newer communities have laundry in the units. In units. My community, I have 2 laundry rooms. They're complimentary on every floor. There's 8 machines on every floor, and it's complimentary. You can go do laundry whenever you want. Some have pay machines.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? No.
I cannot.
But some have, so great question.
Do you have
Oops, sorry.
Do you have to get renter's insurance?
It's always a good idea to insure your property, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
Do you have a list of independent communities?
I am sure Deborah has. I represent Brookdale. I would hate to send you somewhere else, but Deborah probably
Right.
does.
So
Is that where you live?
I can absolutely
That's
put together
Brookdale.
a list of, do you want just Southfield? Because what I was doing was putting together a list just in Southfield, but I can also do, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and just a sample. There are literally so many that
There are a
to
lot.
put one list together is very difficult, but I can give you a sample list of.
A book.
Yes, they
Yeah.
have alternatives for seniors. It's a
So it's all over.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a book about magazine, comes out every quarter. It'll list, they're really good now. They list independent living, assisted memory care. It's all organized that way now. And then you can go through and call the communities and ask questions.
Where would I get a more recent one? I have.
Do you have an older
Again,
one?
if you signed in, I can get that book and send it to everybody.
I have access to it. They send me about 500 copies. But
So between the two of us, we'll make sure.
we'll
that
make
you
sure
all
you get hit
get a
with
book.
that.
Get a book.
Any other questions?
So you live at Brookdale,
I sell. I'm a consultant there.
but you keep talking about,
Because it's my community. It is my community. I take ownership of everywhere I work. It's like, they're my family. The people that are there are really my coworkers, my residents. They are my second family for sure, without a doubt.
Have any of you been to Brookdale?
Now-
I would encourage you all to do a tour at Brookdale. It's a beautiful facility.
Community.
Where is it?
I'm on 11 Mile between Franklin and Inkster, and we used to be known as the Heritage.
oh, well, the heritage is still there, isn't it?
It's now called Brookdale Southfield.
Oh,
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
a beautiful facility.
Isn't it nice?
I toured. And the food was good too.
Yeah, top of the line premiums, right? You
Oh,
have to
ri-
pay, I mean, you have to pay through the nose to be in such a fine facility.
I think it's reasonable because I'll tell you, I came from a community where one bedrooms started, they still start, when I'm saying that. I don't know where they're at now, but they started at $4,000 a month. To me, that's a real premium. I have one bedrooms now start around $25.95, $25.40 a month. And they're nice size. Great closet space, full kitchen, and all of those other, your meals, your breakfast is included, your dinners, 20 dinners a month. And we do 20 because we believe you're going to go out to eat, you're going to want to cook for yourself every once in a while. So we do the 20 dinners a month. What I like about my community is you can stay there. You don't have to move because of an illness. The only reason you would have to move from my community is if you had dementia and you were a threat to yourself or others and you wandered, because we're not a secured community. Other than that, I have people that have been in my community for 15 years, and some are doing great, some need a little extra help. I have Brookdale Home Health at my fingertips. There's a nurse, she comes out twice a week. If I have in my building a resident care director. Now, what she does is she's the eyes and the ears of the residents. And she keeps an eye on everybody. You don't think you're being watched? She's watching. She noticed you didn't come down to dinner 2 days in a row. She'll go knock on your door. Are you okay? Yes, I have an awful cold though. Great, stay in. We don't want you to come down for dinner. Knock on, because they're still hitting the button, but knock on the door and I don't have an appetite. Maybe we should set you up with a doctor appointment and see why you don't have an appetite. So that resident care director then in turn will go to the nurse and say, you know what, I want you to check on her and make sure she goes to her doctor, make sure she sets that appointment. So it's that little extra loving on our residents that we do, that I think makes us unique. She can, that nurse can ask your doctor to order you physical therapy, occupational therapy, or skilled nurse services, and those will all be covered by Medicare, okay? And they can all be done at our community on our site. So when someone new moves in, sometimes we notice someone had a fall, like your mom. We'll send the nurse down. How you doing? How you getting around? What happened? Oh, I stumbled. You stumbled? What did you stumble on? They'll go through. She'll call the doctor. She'll say, I think, maybe 5 weeks of physical therapy will do her a little good. Mm-hmm. And we come to her and we help her out. I also have hospice on site now, hospice care on site. Now, hospice does not mean you're dying. Everybody thinks you're dying. My mom's on hospice. Doesn't mean that anymore. It means we're layering on another form of care for you. You need a little extra love to be comfortable. So that is what hospice is. And people come off of hospice. They have surgery, go to the hospital, come back, need that extra care and love. Once they're on their feet and independent again, hospice goes away. So it's a great thing.
Do they have housekeeping?
Yep, we do housekeeping. Most independent living communities will have weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly housekeeping
Is that included
services.
in the-
It's always included. Yep. We do a deep clean we do one every month where we clean your bathroom, scrub your bathroom down, make your bed, change your sheets, wash your towels. We clean your kitchens, mop your floors, vacuum dust, and it's nice.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad you asked that question, because that is one of the things, when you talked about how much it costs, I mean, there are facilities that are less expensive, but do they offer the same services?
Right.
So you really...
You got to weigh it all out.
I encourage people to really tour a lot of places, you know.
Make sure it's a
Where
good
does your
fit.
mother stay?
She's at Henry Ford Village in Dearborn,
Oh, okay.
and it's a CCRC.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so she's there. And for us, so here's the other thing. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this particular topic, and I tell people all the time, it's because we dealt with this issue when my sister and I were helping my mother decide what to do. So a year in advance, or a year and a half in advance of her actual move, we started touring different facilities and deciding what would work best for her. And I wanted to have this meeting tonight so that you guys could get a little understanding of the different types of facilities. And again, I would encourage you to go and tour a lot of places. And if you have adult children, have them go with you. Because I can tell you from personal experience dealing with my mom, I sleep so much better at night now, knowing she's in a facility, that they're checking on her in the morning, that if anything happens, someone is there with her. When she was living by herself, it was...
Yeah.
You know, we were on pins and needles all the time because we just didn't know. I would call and check on her every day, but I just didn't know what was going to happen the night before, you know?
I will have family members call the concierge because they couldn't get a hold of their mom in the room and say, "Have you seen my mom?" "Yeah, we saw her. She went into breakfast. She's fine." Okay.
Right.
But to have that, if mom doesn't answer the phone, you're right. Children, the kids are just so relieved. So relieved that they know someone's got eyes on their loved one.
You've been itching for a question.
This relates to resident concerns, like you come into the facility, you're a new resident, what kind of welcoming do you receive?
Oh, great question.
When you go into dinner,
Mm-hmm.
I know, people, they have their usual group that they sit
Mm-hmm.
with at dinner, and all of those kinds of things, or if you get ticked off at your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and you're right next door, so those are,
That's a great question. Now, dinner is different in every community. From open seating, where you just go down when you want, you sit where you want, and eat when you want, to you have a time and you have a group of people that you regularly sit with. The theory behind that is that forms neighborhood, that forms bonds. Doesn't mean you have to sit with that group for the rest of your life. No, of course we've had people that said, "I just don't get along with that person." Great, we'll move you. It's not an issue. When someone first moves in, we meet them. Generally, Deborah will tell you what happens is family moves them in, the movers move them in, and we want mom or dad and everyone to stay away.
Yep.
Stay out of the chaos. Come when everything is put together and where it should be and in its right place and unpacked. That's when we move mom and dad in. So what happens is they'll come in the door, we'll welcome them, we give them their keys, they go up to their apartment, they go, "Holy cow, wow, it all fit." How did that happen? How did you do that? And immediately, I see it all the time, and I bet you saw it with your mom. It's like, "I'm home.
Yeah.
This is my stuff is my home. I'm home." We usually will invite family to sit with you and have dinner with you. that first night. So you're with your family. That was a big move. You uprooted yourself. Many, many, many of my residents have been in their homes for 50, 60 years. This
Right.
is traumatic.
I always tell the story, Catherine, about my mom. When she moved, she wanted to bring everything.
Yeah.
And she was moving from a 2,500 square foot condo into a like 850 square foot apartment. And so it took us forever to get her to just pare down a lot.
Yeah.
But even after she moved in, she still took so much stuff. Every time I went over there, she was like, take a lamp. Do you need a lamp? And she just had like a corner full of lamps that she brought with her and didn't need at the new place.
To share. Oh.
But to answer your question about this,
Yeah.
you're talking about like the socialization.
The moving
aspect
in.
of it.
The-
So I'll tell you real quick. One of the quickest things, the quickest way to meet people is to do the activities. That's what my mom did. She did all the activities. She joined. She's running that place now. She's been there a year. She's running it. She's on the resident board. So she makes helps them make decisions about what goes on the menu and stuff. Get involved.
Yeah.
It's the best way. And you know what? When she gets tired of that group of friends, she has this group of friends. So she kind of like circulates.
It's all around.
There you go.
That's a great thing.
Yep.
It is.
And
It
Henry
is.
Ford Village is it's a huge community.
Yeah.
You have a lot of different people to choose from if you're not getting along with that person today.
You move
But
on. You move on.
Brookdale, how many residents do you have?
We are 217 apartments, and so generally we run around 230, 40.
Right.
Yeah.
So in
A lot.
community
There's
of
a lot.
200 people.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're
you
going to
know,
have
if you're
someone to
getting
pal with.
involved in the activities, you're going to be meeting a lot of different people.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all about staying active. And yeah, you're right. One of the nice things that we do is we do a welcome luncheon too for our new residents. Yeah. So we do a super nice welcome luncheon. You can invite friends, your family. We have a private dining room for that. And it's a wonderful day. It's just a nice way to show off your new apartment and show off your new community. This is where I live now.
Right.
Most communities will do that. So that helps you feel like, I've settled. I've settled.
You mentioned the buy-in
Mm-hmm.
and the money, you say like $70.
70,000.
1,000.
What happens to that money afterwards?
So
Good question.
most of your expenses, your most expensive healthcare comes at end of life. So part of that deposit will be used to cover medical expenses that are not covered by insurance. And whatever's remaining when you pass on, once that apartment is rented out to a new family, that deposit is returned back to your family.
Oh, but it has to be, somebody else has to buy into that apartment?
Yes, generally, yes.
Yes.
Once they lease it, then they release your money.
Exactly. So when you buy, like for my sister and I, we know that once our mom passes on, we're going to be helping the facility to lease that place out. I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to be helping, and your family should think of it that way. Like once you pass on, they want to help get the word out about your place so that they can lease it out and release that deposit back to you, whatever remains of those funds.
So you're on a waiting list? I mean, is there a waiting list to take over an apartment that's been vacated?
No, there's no waiting list, because usually there are vacancies.
Yeah.
So like when my mom passes, well, here's one of the things we did too. We also renovated her unit to make it more, so I think it's gonna be one of the first to be leased should she pass on. But we were able to, she picked that particular apartment, it was vacant. And so I know that the family that had it before her, they were happy somebody leased it because then they got their deposit back, but you're not usually on a waiting list. They usually have vacancies. What? What's that?
All right. So I do have information in your folders on my financial concierge, which is Elder Life. One of the cool things they do, Deborah, is they will do a bridge loan
Oh,
from the time you move in to help cover your deposits and whatever you need to move in, and maybe even your monthly rent until your home sells.
okay.
So it's exclusive to Brookdale. They do that. They help you with VA benefits. They help you look. They dig into your life insurance. Maybe there's some clause in your life insurance that you can pull money out to use for senior care. So they kind of do a little in-depth review with you on the phone. And it's just sometimes when, I will say this, you're lucky you went out, you were proactive, you did this earlier. I say 80% of the people that come to me are in crisis.
Right.
They fell, they can't live at home, some
had
medical
some
emergency
medical
happened.
Right.
And they just, it doesn't mean they're incapacitated, but they need a little extra help and a little extra support. And family wants them to be not isolated anymore. So don't be that person.
And again, that's why I'm doing this whole speaker series.
Yeah.
Not because you're ready today, but you don't know what's going to happen. You know, have your plan in place so that you're not functioning in crisis mode. You're coming from, you're already educated, you know where you want to go, you know what to do if you need to sell your house. You have a plan already in place.
I have people that will call me 3 years after they visit and said, we're ready.
Yep.
So
That's what I tell them. I mean, most
Yeah.
of my clients I work with, they're maybe 1 to 2 years out from actually selling their house. You know, they're just dipping the toe in the water to get information at this point.
See what's gonna
You're not
happen.
ready now, but 6 months, a year and a half from now, you may be ready. So that's why we're doing the speaker series now. And again, I just want to encourage you to tour as many places as possible so that you get the full range of, you know, what's out there and what these facilities have to offer. The other thing I will mention, next week we are having our final in this particular speaker series, and it is how to have a family conversation on senior care. So if you plan to come back, bring your adult children, because these are the ones that are going to be helping you make the move, make the decisions. I encourage everybody to have their family involved when you're talking about these subjects. It's just much better. So if you're coming back next week, bring your adult kids if they can come.
Excuse me, do you only have one independent living facility, and that's right there on Leavenworth?
no, actually I have one in, there's this little flyer in here. Shows you what's in our area. So I have Farmington Hills. If you look on the bottom, Farmington Hills on Grand River. I also have Novi. That's independent living. And I like to say that we all have a little different style. So, and then my assisted living is listed on there, and my memory care. Yeah, so it's good little pamphlet to have. Thank you.